Hi everyone, how you doing? I'm Mira and we're here in the Hosteria Papagayo in the middle of the Ecuadorian Andes. And today we're going to talk about climbing gear. So a lot of people that come here want to climb Cotopaxi. It's one of the most beautiful cone-shaped volcanoes and the most popular one in Ecuador for sure. Besides, it's the second highest. So in order to climb it, you need a lot of gear and of course the right preparation. So I'm just going to talk you through today all the things that you need, everything to keep in mind, and how to really enjoy your climb as much as possible. Alright, so we're going to get started with the essential side to not be cold on the glacier. You're going to be in extreme temperatures, and especially at night when you're going to climb, you want to make sure you stay warm enough. So basically, on the bottom you want to have around 2 layers, and then on the top maybe 4 layers. Really depending also obviously on how fast you get cold or not. So I love to personally wear yoga pants, some lycra on the bottom, and then some warmer, like kind of a winter hiking pant on top. And then on top of that, a waterproof pant. So technically you can also easily use ski pants if that works for you. But in this case, I'm just using rain trousers because they'll keep you dry when you're sitting down on the ice for a second, or even come into snow, any condition, you'll be good. And then for the top, so basically a type of shirt that I'm wearing right now, which is a very fast, dry, super light, active shirt. And then from there, obviously you need to see a little bit of how much you need. So personally, I like to wear one insulation layer, which can be a jacket, which is like not too thick, but definitely a bit isolating, giving some warmth. And then on top of that, a down jacket. So these are all really lightweight clothes that you can pack up in no time and just stuff them into your bag. They don't weigh anything, so having them then to carry is super convenient. You don't need to worry about having too much. And the last layer on top would be the rain jacket. So again, it's very important that your outer layer is always waterproof when you're climbing on ice on a glacier. And especially also because rain jackets give another layer of warmth and isolation, so really important one too. Now let's move on to the smaller things. So these are called buffs, and I like to use 2 personally, one for the neck, other one for the head sometimes. This one is a bit longer and thicker, and this one is a little bit thinner. So here again, depending on the weather conditions and how you personally feel, these are great to just protect yourself from cold, from sunshine, and to easily take on enough whenever you need and just stuff them into your bag. And then, last but not least, gloves. So we can also easily use mittens, especially if it's not such a technical climb, but personally I really like either 1 or 2 thick gloves, which are waterproof, obviously, comfortable to wear, and are just easy to use everything else with. Okay, next important thing, shoes. These are glacier boots. So you need a bit of different types of shoes just because they need to be waterproof. That's very important. When you go on ice on a glacier, sometimes the snow can be a bit higher, so then you want to make sure that your feet won't get wet. And especially because they need to be made for the crampons so that you can put them on top of them in order to climb on ice. So these are La Sportiva, the brand, but there are really good brands like Scarpa and many others out there. Just make sure they're comfortable, you can walk well on them, try them on uphill and also downhill, just because the way down is also long intense way. And then remember that the shoes should not be just your normal size, but consider that you would usually wear 1 to 2 socks in them. So just to see that you're still comfortable wearing them, especially because the conditions can be really extreme, so it can be really cold up there. That's why you can wear anywhere between 1 to 2 socks depending on how thick they are, and you won't get your feet all frozen. The next thing are the crampons. This is essential when you're climbing on ice or snow. So these will make sure that you can easily walk on a glacier, especially if it's a bit steeper, uphill or downhill. So make sure that they fit your shoes before you go to the glacier so that they're the right, you can change the size on them, and just make sure that you adjust them in any way needed so you have them ready for when you go to the mountain. Alright, the next item, which will go on top of your boots and also on top of your last bottom layer, are gaiters. So the gaiters are what will keep your legs dry as well. It's really great protection, so you'll put them on top of the boot, pretty much on top of the ankle. Make sure they're also tight enough, so try them on beforehand, and then just wrap them around your calf, and you'll make sure that you'll stay warm and dry. All right, from here, another really important thing, a harness. So you'll be secured on a rope with a guide, and that you will need a harness that fits you well. So there are many brands out there, many different harnesses, but basically make sure that they fit you right on the waist and on the legs, so that the harness is tight and doesn't get anywhere loose during the climb. All right, so the next two items are the ice axe and a hiking stick. So the ice axe is definitely essential and very important that you have one. Make sure you also know how to use it well. And then the hiking stick, personally I like to have it just as another addition to walk more comfortably on the glacier, especially on the steeper parts, to just take off some weight of my legs and just use it with my arms. The next thing you need, a backpack. So normally for climbing recommend a backpack between 30 to 40 liters. This one's a little bit smaller, but it really depends also on how technical the climb is and how long you go for, all of those details. Make sure that you have a rain cover. So this one, for example, has it on the bottom. I just need to open this part and can just scoop it on in case it snows or rains. Otherwise, either get an external rain cover for your backpack, or also a waterproof bag for all your items that definitely should not get wet at all. So your phone, your camera, or any other items can be easily packed in one of those bags. All right, next thing, water. Very important to stay hydrated when climbing. We usually recommend to also take some Powerade or some Coke, any personal preference drink, but generally either a 1 liter water bottle is great that you can just put on the side of your backpack, or also a drink pack which you will scoot into your back, and then you have it always ready whenever you need a little sip. All right, next, some snacks. So we generally recommend to take bars that are made of nuts and dried fruits like dates or any others. But especially in the high altitude, you want to make sure that you have small things to just nibble on in between. Sometimes you're not too hungry when you're high up, and especially at night, but you always want to be prepared, and especially the morning after when you come down from the mountain is the best time to have a good snack. So very important, even though the climbs are at night, you always want to have sunscreen on already, just because as soon as it becomes light and the sun comes out, the sun is super strong, and in the high altitude even more, on the glacier even more. So make sure you're protected with at least 50 SPF, not higher, and you put it on already before leaving the refuge, and then reapply it when you go down from the mountain. Another important item is a first aid kit. So it can be a small one like this with just the essential items, but it's always really helpful to have. And in here you can even put any other creams or some wound cream if needed, and a little whistle just in case for emergencies. So essential on a night climb, a good headlamp. This is your absolute best friend when you go out there. Believe me, been there, done that. So make sure it's charged, it has a good battery life, and that you maybe even have different levels of intensity, but you absolutely need a good headlamp for a good climb. And another device which is very helpful. This is a Find Me spot. So they have these devices of Garmin and also other brands, but this basically just tracks your location. It has an SOS button, so in case you have an emergency, you can ask for rescue here. And then two more items. So in case you get into a bit rougher conditions, especially on the very high mountains like Chimborazo or Cotopaxi, Cayambe, it can be very windy. So if you have goggles, like ski goggles for example, they work perfectly and will protect your eyes so you won't get tearing up or anything like that. And then as soon as the light comes out, sunglasses are very helpful because the light is so strong up there, and especially also the UV. And then last but not least, two very important items. A really cozy wool hat. This will keep your head warm during the cold night. And then as well a helmet. You always want to wear a helmet no matter how technical and not technical the climb. As soon as you're up on the glacier, leaving the refuge or the camp, you want to put that helmet on just in case for security. Okay, so my last personal recommendation is headphones and a really good playlist, because you'll be walking for many hours in the dark. It's quite cold, you're not like sleeping a lot before the climb. can be hungry. So it is really helpful to have motivating music, a really cool Glacier playlist that keeps you going and makes you just like as excited as possible to get to the top, really. Alright, so all of these are the essential items that you will need when you want to climb a volcano here in Ecuador. Obviously it can vary from every volcano, the weather conditions, the altitude, so make sure you're prepared and you talk to your guide or company. The most important thing to make sure that it fits you perfectly are the shoes, because you will be walking in them for many hours, so that I definitely recommend. Make sure they're good, make sure you feel comfortable, and you can walk easily uphill and downhill in them. And other than that, I hope you found this helpful. I hope you get all of your great gear together and enjoy the climb.